What's up, my fearless networking friends? Todd Falcone here, back with another training episode. And when I poll my audiences and ask them questions about what are you struggling with, what's the greatest challenge that you have in succeeding in network marketing, what's the thing that's missing? I've asked it in a lot of different ways just to see if I can find different answers, but I got to tell you, like, the common answer that comes back is I'm struggling to stay consistent. Like, you're going to deal with this with people on your team. They're just, and the thing you got to understand is, and you know this, you can't do anything well if you do it inconsistently, right? So you want to lose weight, you can't eat 5 pizzas and then 1 shake. You want to get in shape, you can't go to the gym once every 3 months, right? You want to be successful in network marketing, you can't just do it every once in a while, right? So, so I get asked this question all the time. One of the reasons I run my A-Team program is to help people get into a groove. It's a very powerful program that helps people to get into a much more consistent mode of operation. But a few things, like number one, I would say is, if you're struggling to stay consistent, you need to put it in your calendar as an unbreakable appointment. Now, you can still, of course, you're like, yeah, I'll put it in my calendar, but then you ignore it. But you got to really look at this business and go, okay, if I want to be successful here, I got to show up. And people that are inconsistent know that they need to show up, but then they don't, and they don't for a number of reasons. But I would suggest that if you're struggling to stay consistent right now, that you literally block out time to build your business. Like, so if you're a part-time network marketer, you work 9 to 5 and you've got, that 6 to 10 p.m. time frame to build your business, you put it in there in your calendar as, 6 to 8 p.m. or whatever you're going to work. And that's just business building time. Like, nothing else can happen. You need to communicate with your family as well. If you got kids or you got other people, and say like, hey, if my door's closed 6 to 8 p.m. Monday through Thursday, that's daddy business building time. If you're bleeding, you can come in, but other than that, just like, if it's a drum, if there's some major thing, but you got to create some rules, right? You got to create some rules for yourself. If you got other family members, you got to create some rules. My kids are used to it. Like, as I'm doing the video right now, my door is closed, and they're not going to come barging in because they know if the door is closed, I'm probably doing something, and so they might tap, lightly and kind of peek in. But they've, so I've trained my kids over, because I've worked from home for 30 years, so they've never known a dad that went to work someplace else other than hopping on an airplane. So I think number one, you got to schedule the time. Number two, and this is something that it's like, sometimes I feel like I'm a broken record because I say things to audiences over and over again. And there's a lot of things that I'll never stop saying because it's that important. Why would I continue to repeat it? Like, people try to make network marketing more complicated than it has to be. And I'm not saying it's not hard work, it is. And I'm not saying that you don't have to face your demons and your, inadequacies or self-worth issues. In some cases, you do. But what we do isn't really that hard, technically speaking. So it's hard mentally speaking, not technically speaking. So number two is, I would suggest that you, the bare minimum, even though you've blocked out, this is my business building time, whatever. Let's say it's 2 hours as an example in this thing I'm using in this video. Well, one of those hours needs to be what I call a power hour, and a power hour is you got your butt parked in your seat and you are, during that entire 60 minutes, doing nothing but business building activities. Doing a Facebook Live is an indirect business building activity. Doing a post, indirect business building. I'm talking about you're reaching out to somebody on Facebook Messenger, you're reaching out to someone on LinkedIn, you're sending somebody a text message, you're picking up the phone and making a phone call, and you're intentionally reaching out to engage a person in conversation about your product or your business. That 60 minutes, there is nothing else that takes place. Like, you are parked and that's all you do. And if you can get into, like, 'cause, like, the sporadic I made a call this morning, this afternoon I did a reach out, one time later I did. That's like, you're not able to get into any kind of like smooth groove, if you will, right? Into your state of flow, or into just like, and even myself, if I get into like video production, if I do one video, fine, but if I did 15 in a row, there's days I've done 30, 40 videos in a single day. So, and when I get into that groove, it's like, it's smooth. And so if you want to find that smoothness in you, if you will, it requires you kind of creating, again, these are rules that you're making. So the rule is, okay, first of all, I'm going to calendar my time. I'm going to block out the time, especially when you're new to this business or if you're struggling to stay consistent. Then I'm going to go, okay, this specific hour, these specific hours, if you have more time, that's a power hour. Like, and if you have more hours to devote to your day, I think you should probably have multiple power hours. And again, just so clarity, because I don't know who's watching or plugging in. You might be new. You might have, if you're, and by the way, if you plugged into me and you're like, dude, you're talking about power hours again? I'm like, yeah, well, how much are you doing them? No. Like, okay. Why not? Would be my question. I don't know. I'd heard you. So if I hammer the message over and over again, maybe it eventually hit the person and go, man, maybe I ought to try this power hour thing that Todd's been talking about for years. So that would be number 2. Number 3 would be, and this is, we've been in a kind of a time the last few months where we really can't have been around so many people and things are kind of changing a bit. But, finding a buddy to partner up with. Like, seriously, like if you aren't get somebody else who is a friend of yours in the company. It could be in a different company for that matter. It doesn't matter. And go, hey, can we get together and let's build our business under the same roof? That's powerful, you guys. That's super powerful. Like, 'cause you got somebody that's there, that's with you. He or she needs help. You need help. You can support one another. You can be there in the same room cheering each other on. When I do these small group retreats, and I get like 10 people in a house, and we're all literally living together in the same house for 4 nights, and we do business building for 3 straight days, like all day, every day. And it's like people get more done in 3 days than they do in a long time. Let's just put it that way. And you can't be under my roof and be twiddling your thumbs looking at the phone. I mean, so many times, for example, and this you can do with your buddy, you're sitting there staring at your phone and you're staring at your lead list or something. I mean, I'd come over and look at the name and pick up your phone, dial the number and press send and go, here you go. Okay, make the call, it's ringing, handle it, right? So, but I think a buddy can be very, very beneficial. It's one of the accountability program that I've been running since 2008. The reason that thing's been so successful is because it's a group of people that all want to, that have the same thing, and we want to do more. And so that group dynamic is also super helpful. That's why even like in a room with multiple people, you can really create some synergy and getting everybody kind of building and being more consistent. So if you have like a group of people that are all struggling to stay consistent, you put 5 people in a house and let's all get after it. That just, that environment is definitely very, very helpful in helping somebody to get into action. What am I at? Number 4? Number 4? Yeah, number 4. Number 4 would be get good. Get good. Get good. A few weeks ago, I did a video. I don't remember the exact title of it, but I kind of talked about skill sets. And the more skilled you are, the better you're going to feel about what you're doing. So if you want to be more consistent, you are not going to be consistent, or you'll be less likely to be consistent if you don't feel like you're good at something, right? You just don't want to do it because I'm not good at it. And I talk about my kids all the time in videos, but like my 13-year-old who is really taken to fishing. Like, I love it because I've been fishing my whole life, and he's like my little fisherman. And, the first few times I take him fishing, it's like throwing a regular rod. He was like so frustrated. He's like, I can't do it. And then I remember I take him out with a fly rod. I've been fishing my whole life, and throwing a fly rod's not easy. And he's like, and he's like, he's like crying, and next thing you know, he hooks a fish, and so he finally managed to hook a fish, and so he was, oh yeah, and then he went from crying to a big smile on his face, because he was able to just figure out enough to get the line far enough out to hook a little trout. Actually, it was a pretty big trout. It was fatty, actually. And, so then it was like, okay, he had a little bit of success and it fed him, right? So he started to get a little better. Started to take him bass fishing a little bit more. And there's a spinning rod where you flip the bail and you throw it out. And he's really good at that. And he's like, Dad, can I throw your bait caster? And a bait caster is, you have to flick this thing and it goes out straight. And you have to kind of feather the line out with your thumb. And it's easy to, even as every professional fisherman has what's called backlash, where the line spins out faster than the lure and it turns like into this bird's nest of line. And he was like, threw it a few times, got a few backlashes, but kept on practicing, kept on working at it. Now he wants to throw my bait caster all the time. So look, again, it's like you got to figure out for yourself, like, how important is being successful in this business? Is it important to you? If it's important to you, then you'll put the work in, you'll put the time in, you will work on improving. Because if, like, the 2-3 weeks ago, I mentioned this in one of my other episodes, like, the reason people procrastinate really is they don't like what they're doing, or they're not good at it. So you got to figure out a way to like it and get good at it. Otherwise, you're going to continue to avoid it, pure and simple. And number 5 would be, I think it's important you remember what got you here in the first place. Like, you made a decision to join network marketing, and there was some underlying reason why you did it. And maybe you did, or maybe you didn't get a deep, deep, deep connection with why you're doing it. Like, I think it's really important to have the motivation to drive forward in the face of adversity and challenges, which we all have. You have to want what's on the other side of all those challenges and frustrations. What's out there that you want so badly, that regardless of what the challenge is or what the obstacle or frustration is, it might not be fun, but I'm gonna trudge through it. It's kind of like if you were, I spent a lot of time in the woods, and I haven't really been faced with this situation, but I've been in a couple kind of crazy situations in the woods where we've gotten lost or, ran out of water or something, and like the will to survive comes in, right? And you're like, okay, my desire to make it home to my family is way bigger than me giving up on, like, I'm just going to sit here, I'm going to die in the woods and freeze to death, right? So I think when you have a clear attachment to why you're doing the business, like something that's bigger than yourself, right? Bigger than getting out of debt, bigger than buying some car or some stereo system or some TV or whatever. It's got to be so big that it drives you. And so, some people may not, when they get involved in network marketing, get really attached to why they're doing it, like really have this deep-seated emotional attachment to why they're doing it, even though a lot of people in like network marketing 101 kit, like, hey, what's your why, right? But sometimes people ignore that. And I don't know what your deal is, what your situation is, because we got a lot of people that plug into these episodes. So whatever your deal is, you have to think, okay, did I ever really get attached to my core reason why, or did I lose sight of it? I don't know. You do. You know whether you've lost sight of it or you've continued. So to me, if you're going to be consistent, you got to go, okay, what's driving me? What is and I don't think it's like even, I don't even think it's a goal really. It's more that, again, like that core driver. It's like okay, you might have a goal of making $1 million a year or $100,000 a year or something like that, but it's what really, because we're talking about business success, it's what the money would provide you, right? So what the money would provide you, okay, all right, my kids aren't going to have any education. I got nothing in savings. My gosh, I'm 50-something. I got no retirement. I definitely do not want to work into my 80s. Okay, the fact that you don't want to work into your 80s and you want to, have some objective to retire and be able to, enjoy your latter years, or you've got children and you want to put them through college and you got no college funds funded for them, but you're like, I got to do it, and you have this vehicle in front of you that can give you that opportunity to potentially do it if you put the work in. what's on the other side that, so your goal might be a specific money figure, but it's what you're going to do with the money that's the emotional driver. So I don't know if you're struggling to stay consistent. I know it's a pretty common thing for people that enter this business. I mean, it's probably the most common thing. So, but those are 5 ideas for you guys for today. I don't know where you're catching me. YouTube, cool. Podcast, great. But if you want to catch the conversation and if you want to ask me questions, I'd love to hear from you. Go to toddfalcone.com/episode 82. Yeah, TODDFALCONE.com/episode 82. We'll see you on the next training video. Hope you're having an amazing day.